Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time you're listening. It's always a good time to listen to Touchdown in Paradise here in the Fins Talk Sports Network. I'm Justin, flying solo today. No Russ, no Pete, no anybody else, just me. You're stuck with me, knuckleheads. And for the next hour or so, you got me just talking straight college football. Let's start with some breaking news here. UCLA and Virginia Tech both dismissed their coaches after an 0-3 start. UCLA's Deshaun Foster had a 5-10 record over 1.25 seasons at UCLA, but all hell broke loose when the team lost 35-10 to none other than the New Mexico Lobos. New Mexico. This is what Nico Iamaleava left Tennessee for? The NIL dispute to come here? Well, I mean, at least he won't have to worry about getting paid for the postseason. I'm just saying. Either way, Deshaun Foster proved that he just cannot be the guy for UCLA. He seems like a great man, and I do feel for him. But I hope he finds what he wants to do next, whether that's go back into coaching somewhere else or enjoy the buyout money. Over on the East Coast, Brent Pry had a 16-24 record over 4 seasons at Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech lost this week 45-26 at home to Old Dominion. Old Dominion, the same Old Dominion that had their first win over a Power 5 school against Virginia Tech a couple years ago. And I believe they were a ranked team too then, and that was at Old Dominion. But this time losing under the lights, Enter Sandman, everything. Jeez. You remember when Virginia Tech was in the national title game 24 years ago, just about 25? I'm not sure. It's one of the years with Michael Vick. I don't think that Virginia Tech is ever going to come back. Let's be real. In the age of NIL, I don't know too much about Virginia Tech, but do you feel like they have the NIL budget to compete with an all Texas and Ohio State? I've seen Virginia Tech beat Ohio State in my lifetime. Yes, 2014. I believe it was week 2. And the Buckeyes. Somehow, some way. And then that Ohio State team went on to win the national championship. I don't know how that worked. And I don't know why some people still consider Virginia Tech one of those teams that, oh, watch out, it's still Virginia Tech. What Virginia Tech? They haven't been truly relevant in like 24 years. When was the last time you remember Virginia Tech being anywhere close to the national title? Frank Beamer, God bless him for all those years that he had them in contention in the early 2000s. Then what happened? I believe he retired toward the late 2010s. The team just hasn't been the same. They haven't even been close, even in his later years. Either way, I heard somebody talking, maybe it was, I think it was on Paul Feinbaum's podcast or whoever he was a guest on. Should we pencil in Jimbo Fisher at Virginia Tech? Interesting. But do you think Jimbo Fisher would walk away from 100 million reasons to not coach? I want to see how that plays out. Right move, too soon for both these guys. It just seems like they were so fast to act like we can't do this anymore. People aren't going to show up to our games. They're not going to be selling out the stadium. I mean, probably not going to sell out the stadium anyway. But ticket sales go down. Donor money goes down. It's just not a good sight all around. Moving along. Too bad Pete's not here. Stunned Notre Dame on the road, 41-40. Marcel Reed, 360 yards, 2 touchdowns. How about Le'Veon Moss, 81 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground? Mario Craver, how about this guy too? 7 catches, 270 yards and a touchdown. For Notre Dame, CJ Carr, 293 yards, a touchdown and a pick. Jeremiah Love, solid day as well, 94 on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Jadarian Price, also 2 touchdowns. But we have to talk about this. Does this game expose Notre Dame as overrated? Or was it just another game? With all that, it's just this Notre Dame team cannot stop a nosebleed. They had every chance in the world to win this game. Extra point being the reason why this game went out of the Irish's favor. But still, your defense lets up all these points to allow that to happen. Obviously. Now, is that fair? I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Because Notre Dame's played 2 top 10 teams, Miami and Texas A&M, in 2 weeks. Now, given that, look at a team like Arizona State. Arizona State, they won the first week. They lost in a last-second play to an unranked Mississippi State on the road the week after. They fell all the way out of the rankings. Let's look at Clemson, shall we? They have 2 losses, but they have 1 win, where they have not looked good once this year in any of these 3 games. They were, I believe, 12 or 15. We'll talk about them in a minute, but if you watch the game, you know what happened. They fall out of the rankings. And then you look at a team like, what's it called? It was on the tip of my tongue a second ago. You look at that team. I'll come back to it. Either way, I am out on Notre Dame this year. Unless they have a spectacular season, beat USC and everybody else, they don't have a chance to get in. Moving along. Dogs still on Rocky Top. UGA prevails over the Vols in overtime, 44-41. Again with the kicking problems. Because if you watch this game, which I hope you did, it was a great game. The Tennessee kicker missed the field goal at the very end of regulation, wide right, as time expired. Goes to overtime, and the Dogs punch it in, winning their 9th straight in this series. If you remember, the last time Tennessee won, they really shouldn't have won. It was a miracle that they did. Joshua Dobbs launched a Hail Mary right after UGA scored as the waning seconds tick off the clock in Athens. Throws it up, and Jawan Jennings comes down with it. Touchdown. Walk-off. Vols win under Butch Jones. Really, for the better part of this decade. So what is our assessment here? We have Gunnar Stockton, 304 yards, 2 touchdowns. Joey Aguilar, solid day too, 4 touchdowns, 2 picks. Chris Brazilian, 6 catches, 177 yards, and 3. How about the running back for UGA as well? He could play. So our assessment here, my assessment at least, Gunnar Stockton has proven me wrong. Little by little, each week. He looked like a deer in headlights at times last year in the postseason against Texas and against Notre Dame. Just did not look ready and prepared. He's clearly put in a lot of work this offseason, and now it's showing. To go into a really hostile environment, one of the top 10 largest stadiums in the country, sold out, checkerboard in the stands, and do that. Very great. And if you're Tennessee, yes, this is a blown opportunity. Your kicker pulls a Scott Norwood. But we can't take away how good the offense looked. It's strange now. The SEC is becoming a shootout conference, which the Big 12 has been known as. And just as they enter Oklahoma, their defense starts showing up. They were the biggest culprits in the Big 12 of their defense just never being there, but their offense being electric. My assessment here, final, is both contenders. Georgia's got the leg up here for now, but just see what happens later in the year. Joey Aguilar clearly winning the trade from Nico to Joey. 2-1 is better than 0-3. Staying in the state of Georgia, yellow jacked up. Georgia Tech breaks their losing streak to Clemson with a 24-21 win over the Tigers. How about Haynes King, man? Transfer from A&M has made Georgia Tech his home. He's become the face and staple of this program, what it's about. Hard, grit and grind. I said last week, Georgia Tech under Brent Key reminds me of the 2010s Memphis Grizzlies, the grit and grind era with Zach Randolph, Mike Conley, Tony Allen, Marc Gasol, where they weren't the most talented in the NBA, but they were talented enough and they played just wearing you down on defense and offense too. And that's what this Georgia Tech team is to me. Haynes King, 211 yards, 100 on the ground. And how about Jamal Haynes? My notes are a little jacked up. But on the other side here, Cade Klubnik, 207 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. And Brian Wesco Jr., 7 catches, 126 yards, and a touchdown. Now, where do we rank Georgia Tech in the ACC race? Gosh. It's got to be right behind Florida State and Miami, who I think right now are 1A and 1B. Obviously, Florida State with the big win over Alabama at home. And then Group of 5. And then, of course, you've got Miami, who played Notre Dame, beat them at home, and then just played a ranked South Florida, beat them at home too. Also Savannah State, I believe it was, ran through them. I guess I'll put Miami first. I'll put Florida State second and Georgia Tech right behind those, but I just don't know how big the gap is. Those three are clearly the class of the ACC. Now, how about Clemson? Is this it? Is Dabo done? Is Clemsoning back? You remember that term? It disappeared for a while because Clemson was on a hot streak, winning a lot. But before they win, boys and girls, before they did start winning, there was a term called Clemsoning where they'd start the year off ranked, maybe in the top 10, doing so well. And then toward the end of the year, they start losing games. And that was called Clemsoning. But now they're losing games in the beginning of the season. So where do you go? What do you do with Dabo, who's kept this program in the dark ages, dare I say, of college football? Program that was the clean standard maybe 5 years ago, but it's a new era. I mean, think of this. If you took money in 2014 and you put it in Bitcoin because you saw a future of where it was going and you believed in it, you kept riding it out, you'd be doing pretty well right now, right? If you, in 2019, took your money and put it into NVIDIA because you saw the future of what they were doing with AI, the chips they were providing for computers, you'd be pretty good right now. But if you're taking that money and you're investing in Enron because you believe in energy, I don't know how much money you got left. If you're investing money in the Madoff investment group, you're probably not doing great either. I feel for people who lost money in that. I just think that Dabo's chips are in the wrong hand. He's got to do something, or Clemson has to do something with him. Now, riddle me this. Dabo to Florida. Could you see it? Or if the fan base has truly had enough of him, do we start linking him to the Alabama job should it come open if the fan base is tired of Kalen DeBoer by the end of the year? I don't know. They don't seem very happy with DeBoer. Dabo is a Bama alum. I could see him maybe at the Florida job because, let's be real, that's going to come open. I don't think Billy Napier is going to last after this season. He may not last through it. We'll see. And how about this? Lane Kiffin gets the UK monkey off his back and beats the Wildcats on the road. Sorry, this was last week. I really need to do better. I need to do better with my notes. Moving along here. Here's some other notable games that happened. Ohio State, number 1, starting slow, but turned on the Jets late to pull away from Ohio 37-9. Texas still shaky in a 27-10 win versus UTEP. You know, I'm wondering, should I start betting against the spread in Texas games? Arch Manning did say he's going to be better. I'm not giving you betting advice, but I'm going to start looking at that. Should you start betting against the spread with Texas? Or is it too late for that? Do you think now they'll have a turning point? Schedule only gets a little bit more difficult from here. Ole Miss wins a high-scoring affair with Arkansas. That's where Lane Kiffin is right now. 41-35. USC enters the rankings at 3-0 after a 33-17 win at Purdue. Good for the Trojans, good for Lincoln Riley. I don't think Purdue has anything to write home about this year. Barry Odom, new coach in there. They'll grow. They'll get back to it. Barry Odom did pretty well with Mizzou for a while. Over to Bama, the Tide roll over Wisconsin 38-14. That should buy DeBoer a little bit of time. But if he starts losing little games over the next few weeks, you know that fan base is not going to be happy. LSU wins another slugfest and beats Florida 20-10. How about it? The offense looking like stalemate. You know, it's these offenses that you're used to being electric. LSU, Houston Texans. Gosh, who else? The Kansas City Chiefs, not looking great either. Cleveland Browns, not looking great either. I could keep naming names. Their offense, I just feel like they could do better. But the new defensive coordinator has done a heck of a job coming in and changing things up and making that the identity of this program. Now, I do feel LSU, even though they are the highest ranked SEC team at number 3, I do feel that they are a little bit overrated. And at some point in the year, we're going to see that. I feel like Georgia or Tennessee is a better team, are better teams. But we shall see. Miami exposes those frauds at USF, the geographically challenged school in Tampa, 49-12. And to that I say, it's all about the U, baby. Ha! That's the UCF fan in me and the Miami lover in me. How about this? The Tupac in shambles. Texas Tech runs through Oregon State 45-14. And how about this? University of North Texas beats Washington State 59-10. Reminder, these were Power 4, Power 5 schools back in the day, in the days of the Pac-12. My goodness. I hope things get better. I feel very bad for those schools and their fan bases. They're just such loyal fan bases. They don't deserve this. Everything fell apart around them, and now this. I know Washington State lost Jake Dicker. They lost John Mateer. Their whole program got gutted, and this is what's left. It's just tough. I don't know where you go from here. I know the Pac-12 is rebuilding over the next couple of years. I just hope that it brings a brighter day for these teams. They just didn't deserve what happened to them. And finally here, Vandy hammers down South Carolina without Lenora Sellers, who got knocked out early in the game. Hope he's okay. Exciting young player. 31-7 on the road. They're in the rankings. Let me tell you, how about Diego Pavia? How about him? He's got the toughness of Phillip Rivers. Man is so overly confident. Obviously, he beat Alabama last year, Vandy's first win over number 1 in history, and their first win against Alabama in almost 40 years, I believe it was. This year, he goes on the road to hostile environment South Carolina, takes them down 31-7, and he's just so confident all the way through. Not to mention, a couple years back, when he was at New Mexico State, he went into Auburn and beat them. Dude is a gamer. He's a tough guy. Just overly confident. He delivers. I love to see it. Another little stat after that. Well, I'll share it now. This is what I saw on X recently. So, if you know Theo Vaughn, he claimed on X, actually in an interview on ESPN while he was on the sideline, that Diego Pavia promised Theo if Vanderbilt beats South Carolina, that Theo could take Diego's mom on a date. And then I thought the funniest part of it was they won, and Theo tweets out, "Where should I take her?" To which Diego quote tweets it and says, "There's one other caveat to this." This isn't the direct quote. He wanted a date with Tate McRae to be part of the deal. And so he wanted Theo to hook that up. Hey, honestly, go for it, Diego. Go, Diego, go. You can get Tate McRae's attention. Hey, Travis Kelce got Taylor Swift. Why can't you get Tate McRae? I love it. I hope it happens. Now let's move into the Paradise Parlay. And you know, this is pretty fun doing this alone, but it's even more fun when I do it with people. I'm excited to have my crew back next time. The Paradise Parlay here. Starting with, old rivalry here. And now these schools are both Power 4. SMU at TCU, the crosstown Dallas-Fort Worth rivalry. TCU is a 7-point favorite at home, 63.5 over-under. TCU money line is minus 250, SMU plus 205. I like the Horned Frogs this year. SMU still has Kevin Jennings, and they can still score. But just something about the way TCU completely went on the road and dismantled Bill Belichick in North Carolina. Josh Hoover can sling that thing. He's got the accuracy of Tom Brady. Maybe that's a little exaggeration. But the man is clutch. The man is tough. He can really air that ball out. Give me the Horned Frogs all the way through. I'm going to go TCU. Definitely going the over here. This is Big 12 ACC where both have high-powered offenses. This is going to exceed that easily. And I'll take TCU money line. Auburn at Oklahoma. Jackson Arnold returns to his old team. This is going to be a close one, so I'm going to pick Auburn to cover the spread here. OU is a 6.5-point favorite at home. Give me the Tigers there to cover. And over-under is 48.5. I think it's just going to hit the under. And do I like the Sooners or do I like Auburn here? Auburn is undefeated, but I just feel like OU and John Mateer, there's something about this team. They look really good. I really like John Mateer and the Sooners. He's just a perfect fit. He looks very Oklahoma. He feels Oklahoma. Total class act, giving the post-game interview against Michigan. That's what you want in a leader. Very team first, accountability guy. Don't be shocked if a team like the Dolphins take a look at him. Because I know, as a Dolphins fan, they're going to be picking pretty high. Give me the Sooners, money line. Michigan at Nebraska. Here's where it gets a little tough. Michigan, a 1.5-point favorite on the road in Lincoln. 44.5 over under here. Michigan, money line, minus 122. Nebraska, plus 102 at home. It's Dylan Raiola time, baby. Michigan had their time. It's Dylan Raiola's show now. Give me Nebraska all the way through. It's going to be the under. I'll take Nebraska to win on the spread, and I'll take the Cornhuskers money line too. Big Red, baby, is back. Texas Tech at Utah. You talk about two really good Big 12 teams. Intriguing matchup here. Tech has looked every bit a part of a college football playoff team the last few weeks. Utah also has some pretty good wins under their belt and experience with Kyle Whittingham. Spread here is Utah at home, minus 3.5. The over-under is 57.5. Moneyline Utah, minus 175. Texas Tech, plus 145. This is definitely going to be a close game. I do feel like this is going to be one of those where I'll pick the over. I wouldn't be shocked if the under hits, but just to be safe, this is Big 12, so I'll go the over here. I'll pick Utah to win at home. And yeah. Actually, you know what? Back that up for a second. Utah's looking great, but there's just something about this Texas Tech team. I'm going to pick them with the upset here of plus 145. And I'll have them cover. So let's go Tech money line. Tech beating the spread of 3.5. And we'll go the over. Game of the week. I am excited for this one. And this is something I definitely would not have said 10 years ago. Maybe even 5 years ago. Maybe even 3 or 4 years ago, I wouldn't have said this about this matchup. Game of the week here. Illinois at Indiana. Did you ever think you would hear that on a college football podcast? But alas, the Big Ten is fully taking football seriously now. Illinois taking football seriously again. Indiana finally taking football seriously. Is in Bloomington. IU is a 4.5-point. I was on the Kirk Cignetti train all year last year. Kirk Cignetti, he won it. This year, I might have to start saying Brett B, Coach of the Year. I mean, have you seen Illinois? They're there. They have arrived. I thought it was going to be another year. No, it is now. The future is here for the Fighting Illini. I like them this week in Bloomington. Give me Illinois. Give me the under here. I think it's going to be surprisingly close. And I'll go the Fighting Illini money line, plus 164. Now, coming up here, we have our upset and cover of the week. So this week, I actually have one of each. How about this? Upset of the week. Michigan State is a 15.5-point dog at USC. Michigan State, they're undefeated. Still second-year coach. But I'm not sold on USC right now. Yeah, they've had a good couple weeks. Michigan State's just one of those programs that can turn it on whenever they want. I'm going to take the Spartans here. Upset over USC here in LA. Our cover of the week. Remember I said, is it time to start taking the spread against Texas? Sam Houston State University coming to Austin, plus 41.5. I'm going to take the Bearcats to cover. Texas will win, but that is a big money line for what Texas has been playing like. I'm not buying it. Give me the Bearcats to cover. Other games I'm watching this week, of course, Bill Belichick and UNC coming to UCF. Excited for that one. And then we've got Florida going to Miami to play. This would have been a really intriguing matchup a couple weeks ago, but now we're seeing that DJ Lagway, 5 interceptions last week. I just don't think he's playing with a lot of confidence right now. And Miami, they're playing with all the confidence in the world. It's at home. Carson Beck looking like maybe the favorite for the Heisman right there with John Batir in Oklahoma. Give me the Hurricanes. They're big. And we're going to wrap this up with cheer for the week. I'm going to cheer to just being able to travel. Let me tell you, man, if you go out there and go explore the world, I will tell you, you will experience more growth doing solo travel worldwide than you will doing anything else. It's just such a treat, such a great experience. I love it. If you don't have one yet, this is your sign to go travel. Go see somewhere you never have. I lied. We're not going to make it to an hour here, but we'll keep it at 33 minutes. This is Touchdown in Paris here on the Finstock Sports Network. I'm Justin, and we will see you next time.